Today, my guest is Erika Carrera, and she is where every female founding entrepreneur wants to be. After a successful career in Silicon Valley working in the ed tech industry as a CFO, Erika launched a woman-led, woman-oriented brand to incredible success. Carrera found her unique selling point in the lack of comfortable and stylish options in shoes for working women. Eliza has redefined luxury by pioneering cutting-edge, ultra-comfortable insoles without sacrificing the style of your shoes. Eliza, in consultation with podiatrists and biomechanical engineers, have developed three-layer insole technology, which uses high rebound memory foam to absorb shock and support and protect joints from pressure. Using handcrafted Italian leather, sustainable production, and timeless design, Eliza is producing shoes that are made to last and are truly beautiful. Featured in publications such as Insider, Elle, and Glamour, Eliza is solidifying itself as a notorious brand in luxury fashion. Defying male-centric spaces in the technological and now entrepreneurial world, Erika Carrera is a true role model for women across the professional world.
Erika, you have a
Give from my
background in
heart to
operational
anything, anyone,
finance
whatever's
and a
before
lengthy
me,
and successful career
because
as a CFO
giving
in Silicon Valley.
cleans the
However,
eyes,
in
cleans
2021, you
the
launched
ears,
your own
cleans the
business, and we
heart,
know that was
and
not a
now other things are
particular
possible that the
easy
mind
period
couldn't
to be
uncover.
launching a business. Leaving the world of finance, that world that you were trained in, and going into the fashion industry and creating success there. Can you tell us a little bit about, how you were able to make that transition, and when did you even have that moment where you knew that this transition was necessary for you?
Yeah, I started my journey in the footwear industry years before I decided to launch my own company. So, like you said, I was in finance. I was a finance executive. I was leading companies in the Silicon Valley that move really fast, that have a really fast pace. And so my journey kind of started as a necessity. So I love shoes, that's just to begin with. And I'm petite, so I love wearing heels. And for my trips as a CFO or executive in finance, I needed to travel constantly and dress professionally. I would go to Europe, where the wardrobes are not as informal or casual as they are in some parts of, especially in California. So
yes.
I needed to dress professionally, wear heels, and I just couldn't find shoes that were beautiful and comfortable. I have bunions. I have one foot that is bigger than the other. And that purchasing of shoes, I mean, the boxes would arrive at my house, and they would be returned as soon as I tried just even one foot.
Yeah.
And so I started questioning, why can't there be a shoe that is both beautiful and comfortable? I mean, it should be possible to kind of put that mentality into, okay, how do we make this? And
yes.
And that's what started it for me, and sort of like a hobby and trying to understand more. And obviously you mentioned that I have experience in operations, and that was my core job as I was in finance. I was doing both the numbers and closing books and looking at financials, but I was also very involved in opening subsidiaries, opening offices, hiring people, figuring out, being resourceful in a startup environment where resources are not always,
yes.
vast. So all of that was in my head. How do I have my own company? Where would I have my own company? In the meantime, I'm having this beautiful hobby, and so I started networking, through my current network or through LinkedIn,
yes.
and reaching out to people. So during that networking, for instance, I met with the owner of one of the brands that used to make shoes for the Queen. And so in one of my trips to London, I visited him and I started asking, what is it about the industry? Tell me more. I have a friend that works in one of the biggest fashion brands in the world, and I was talking to her. So doing a lot of research and saying, what does it take to kind of have start your own brand. And so I did that for 7 years before launching my company. And my last company, you mentioned I was CFO, and we were acquired very successfully. And I from that acquisition, we were slowly transitioning out of the role, like happens with any post acquisition. And I started to have more time to work more on my brand. So I went to Italy to study for shoe development. I had already taken classes before in shoemaking in different parts of the world. And when I was transitioning out of my job, then I had already had a team in Italy. I had designs. I had almost everything that I was doing on the side. And then when I transitioned out, I said, well, should I go to my next job as CFO or give this a try? I already have my designs. I have an idea. I have a name for my company. And I decided just to take a leap of faith and say, okay, let's do it now. And if it fails, then I can always find another job in finance, right? But this is the moment. And it coincided, obviously, with the pandemic. But it was also a good opportunity for me as a small brand, as a startup, to get a good deal with factories in Italy that were not producing for their big brands, because I produce in the same factories as very well-known brands, they had decreased their production. So, it was a good time for me to say, okay, I'm crazy enough to produce high heels where everybody's wearing flip-flops or wearing pajamas at home. I think this is going to pass. So let's give it a good try. So that year of research and development was the perfect timing for me to actually enter the industry. So, you could see for both sides. And in terms of sales, obviously that happened a little later, that the challenges of selling heels when most people were still not wearing heels, right? But
exactly.
So that's my journey, and that's already 10 years of from beginning to where we are now.
Amazing. And since then, we've had celebrities like Alyssa Milano and Brooke Shields who have worn your shoes. And so it's clear that craftsmanship is at the heart of your brand, and it's an integral part of your production. And obviously everything you've said in terms of the amount of research and care that you took in terms of developing the product, finding the right producers, etc. Why is sustainability, because you also mentioned making sure you're sourcing the right products, why is sustainability an important value for your brand?
Yeah, it is really important. So one, obviously getting the best materials, dealing with suppliers that have the highest standards and certifications in Italy. So we work with the best of the best, not just in the material side, but obviously in the factory side of things too. We try to minimize overconsumption, and we produce in small batches. So we have, I was telling you, we have a good relationship with the factories, and we can be nimble. So, if we produce in small batches, if we see that particular style is selling out, then we can reorder more, but we don't order in larger quantities to have them then,
it's in a warehouse.
Yes, exactly. In a warehouse and just sitting there, or just, selling it for lower prices. So that is crucial. I do believe that we have to take care of our environment. We have to take care of Earth. And so, so we only work with suppliers that are the best of the best and care for the environment, that who have good labor practices. I work with 3 or 4 factories so far during this time. And I visit them in person. I talk to the owners. I talk to the workers and see the conditions before getting started with a factory. I visit them as well. And if I see that there's something that is not at par to what we're looking for, then we obviously don't even get into an agreement with them. So it's incredibly important to do our part in the supply chain management.
Amazing. And so how does your experience as a female entrepreneur, because a lot of people are looking to make a transition, right? Like having their second act in career. How does that differ from being in an organization as a CFO in a male-dominated industry as well?
Yeah, so it's my experience in the finance world was mostly male dominated. So especially as you go up in the ranks, it's it's tough. So you have to speak louder. You have to be even more assertive than what you regularly would be in your in your daily life. And I think it's actually been in the good direction, being an entrepreneur, and people are more curious about what you're doing. Most people want to really know how you make that transition. So it's been welcoming. It's been, even from my peers that they knew me before as a finance executive, now they ask more questions. How are you doing? I'm so in awe of what you do. Yeah. So it's actually been very encouraging. It's hard work. And again, comparing that to startups that I was working really hard, this is nonstop because this is your own business. And so I start at 8 a.m. every day, and sometimes I don't finish until 10. So it's been a great transition, and the apps are the best, but the lows can be personal. So it's just something to really think about and reflect, and saying that, being conscious that as a business owner, you're going to have ups and downs, but both of those, they'll feel more personal to you, right? So it's just to try to find that balance, and knowing that every business has good moments and bad moments, and just like try to learn from those moments as well. But it's been a wonderful journey. I don't regret any of even my mistakes, or in doing this learning process. It's been wonderful, and it's been good to make that transition once I had enough knowledge of the industry to make that transition. I did prepare myself for a while before changing industries, because this is what's really, the operation side of it, you could say you could translate from one industry to the other, but the knowledge of the industry, marketing, and how to connect with celebrities and influencers, and so all of that was foreign to me. So but it's preparation, it's networking, it's having mentors. All of the groundwork needs to be done before moving into a different industry, a different career, or a second act, like you were saying. It's important to be informed.
Yeah, I love that you shared that, because it's such a critical point. But you also spoke about those highs and lows being personal. And I think as female founders, we tend to emotionalize a lot of experiences and personalize a lot of our business experiences. Can you share a little bit about, how, I have this saying that your business is your greatest personal development school. And I heard that from one of my mentors, and it's so true, right? How has the challenges shaped you as an entrepreneur, as a business leader?
They've made me stronger, for sure. So this is something very personal I'm going to share. Public speaking was not one of my favorite things to do. But that's something as a business owner that I constantly need to do, right? So the first time, I was in an interview with Kathy Ireland, and it was a TV show. And this was right after I left as a CFO, and I had never been in a TV show, and I needed to be in front of a huge crew, in front of a celebrity, speaking up about my brand. And that really challenged me. I really need to do a good job. So I prepare myself. I got a coach to help me, prepare for that moment. And when the time came and it was in front of all the cameras, it was natural. So and this is just one example of the many things that I've had to do as a business. Negotiating with the factories, negotiating with all the different vendors, and trying to get a fair deal for anything that I do, right? So pushing myself to do something that I'm not comfortable doing, or I hadn't done before. It's been tremendous. And I feel such a sense of accomplishment every time I go through that hurdle that I hadn't done before, that I feel extremely uncomfortable doing, but then it turns into a success. So I think from everything that I've done, I think that's the personal growth for pushing myself to do things that I rather not do. It's been great, really, as just as a person growing into, I'm already, in my second career, in my second stage of my career, and it's unbelievable the things that you hadn't done before and you still need to prepare and go through again, right? So yeah.
Absolutely. So who do you cite as your biggest professional influence as an entrepreneur?
So I have entrepreneurs. Let me think. I have a few colleagues locally that have done so well. So there's one in particular. We used to work together in tech.
Yes.
And her name is Coral, and she has her brand is called Sunrev, and she does beautiful handbags made in Italy.
Nice.
And I don't know if you're familiar with her, but she was in more of the customer service department, and I was in finance, and we used to see her, and she was always dressed so beautifully. And then she left the company, and years later, I saw that she had her own brand.
Yeah.
And then I've been following her because her brand has been very successful. It's been in Neiman Marcus. She's been growing, and her bags are beautiful. And then it's kind of started from the same point as I did. She traveled a lot. She visited customers. Why can't there be a bag that is more catered for women, and where we put our phone, where glasses, our notebooks, and it's been incredibly successful. She's had company or stores opening in Asia. So she's everywhere, and she's so gracious, and she's actually local to me. And so just seeing her journey, and she's years ahead of when I started, but it kind of reminds me of my story. And so when I follow her and when I see the news and her successes, it just makes me feel so proud of her. And happy that she could make her dream come true, and so I follow a lot of what they do, and so it's we were in the same company basically, so it's just amazing to see that from tech she was able to move to fashion, and she's so successful.
Amazing. Now, you've been quoted as saying fashion has been made for women, but mostly run by men, which is true. I'm like, we're wearing these uncomfortable shoes because men never had to wear it, yet they designed it for us. This really resonates with me as someone who buys women's apparel and shoes, and always, as you said, walking in those shoes and reminding myself, wow, it's not comfortable, but it's pretty, so we do it anyway. It is a statement which speaks to the majority of women's fashion. Would you ever consider creating your own women's, or would you ever consider creating any other female-oriented product outside of the shoe category? Like, what's next, Lisa?
I would love to. So we actually apply for a trademark for all the categories that would cover fashion, yes, I would love to. I enjoy when we do the photo shoots and dressing the models and styling them and thinking how everything goes with the shoes. I love to do it. I don't think I have enough knowledge of that. So if I were to go in that direction, obviously I would have to partner with somebody that has done that before. And we recently launched a very small collection of cashmere sweaters made in Italy. This is just more for everyday wear, right? So we have a beautiful store here in Los Altos, California, and there's women that not necessarily need shoes, but they want to purchase something that is good for their daily lives. So now we have the cashmere sweaters, but it's a very small collection, but we hope to do something more. We've been partnering with other female entrepreneurs, and we had a fashion show at our store for a woman that does suits just for women with encouraging words in embroidered within the suits, for example. And so we're in the meantime, I'm just trying to partner with other women-owned businesses and to help them with in their journey as well. But eventually, maybe I'll develop something.
I love it. So 29% of male entrepreneurs go on to build like multi-million dollar brands. However, only 13% of female entrepreneurs end up achieving the same track record. What advice would you give for women looking to defy the odds and to win their own entrepreneurial success?
Start from a business plan and start from a good idea. A good product is so important, whether it's software or hardware or fashion. You have to have a good product that that differentiates you with what is your value proposition from that product. I think, and then really hone into the product. Test it, make sure that you love it, make sure that your customers love it. Have a survey or focus group with other women or whatever your product is, and just to understand, is it working? What are the opportunities for improvement for that product? So the product, and if you have a good product, it'll sell itself. That's actually an advice that I got from one of my mentors. And I didn't believe at the moment, right? So it's like, when you have the resources, it's easy to just say that, but it really is that. And once you have a good product, then your first customers are going to be your ambassadors. And so if it's a good product, then word of mouth is so important. Then it gets to influencers, and then it gets to celebrities, and then it's nonstop. But I think it's starting from a good product, a good business plan. How are you going to distribute this product? Just starting from the basics, and then everything will come. There's always something new that comes up every day for a business owner. So it's really nonstop. But the bases are that your business plan, how are you going to finance this, whether friends and family or crowdfunding or self, just start small, and then eventually the business will
fund itself.
Yeah, exactly. So, but the product, I think that's what I truly believe, and that's what we try to do with our business and with our shoes. Is I was a little late for our call too, because I was talking to Italy, and it's just that back and forth. It's like, move 1 millimeter on the shoe, because that's going to hurt the foot if you don't do it right. So it's just being really making sure
with it.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, your shoes are such beautiful designs. What inspires? Are you part of the creative director? Are you the creative director of the brand?
Yes, I am. Yes.
And so, what inspires your designs?
So a few things from the design perspective. I also always start from the functional point of view, right? So if I'm we're in the process of creating a flat at the moment. So I want to make sure that there's at least 1 centimeter of the heel, because when it's completely flat, it's actually not good for the foot. That the front, the toe has enough space, where it's going to be hitting on the foot, and not to touch sensitive areas. And then I design around it. So I've been seeing a lot of and I was trying to do that with our wedges as well, with leathers that have beautiful prints with flowers, and that was for our summer collection that I hadn't seen of anything, and it reminded me of Monet paintings. So so architecture and traveling and being outside and taking lots of pictures really inspires me. That's from the design perspective, but also from the personal perspective. My first collection was a homage to the women in my life. So one was the pump that was reminding me of my grandmother that used to have parties all the time and be super put together. And so that's one of the Mary Jane, because she used to wear a lot of those shoes. And my mom used to run errands in stilettos. So I don't know how she did it, like pencil skirts and stilettos. So Elba is my mom's name. And and has that. And then Fiorella is my best friend since we've been 12 years old. And she's tall, but she always loved to wear platforms and, on heels. And so one of the shoes were a homage to her, because she loves her platform shoes. And that's been our best seller, actually. So
amazing.
Every
and who was Violetta?
Violetta, it was my other grandmother. So because it's just more stylish, it's just a little bit more conservative and, you know, just like with the different accents of color. So yeah, so it's so that's, you know, from the functional perspective, and also just, you know, it needs to be personal to me, and especially that first collection. So my mom loves to see her those sold out, but you know, she used to love seeing her name on all the shoes, and it's like, oh, that's my shoe. She would comment on Instagram. So cute.
I love it. I love it. And so what, just final question of what weren't you expecting that you discovered in the process of building this company?
Oh, so the marketing side of things. So you know, there's a lot of obviously influencers out there, and how close you need to be to these influencers, but also finding the right influencer to, you know, to represent your brand. It's harder than what you think. There's a lot of negotiations with them in terms of whether they want to wear the shoes or not, or how to, but just finding the right influencer to become, for them to become ambassadors. We found wonderful partners in the process, but it's really but it came out to having good partnerships with them, because they actually are influencers for a reason, right? And they're driving a lot of the word of mouth and the sales and the brand recognition. And it's really important to find these good partners, and not just influencer, but in general, finding good partners to help you grow your brand and to build brand awareness.
Yeah, that's really great, because I think that's one thing a lot of people forget, the power of partnership. And I loved when you said earlier, you're also partnering with other female founders, which is such a critical part of building a successful brand today, those personal relationships.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, so it's women supporting women, which I 100% believe, but it's also helping each other, right? So how you know, if we partner, if we have a pop-up together, then we'll have, you know, more people learning about our brands, and there's no competition among us. Let's help each other. And that's been wonderful. So just to meet so many women that are kind of in our same journey, and they have different stories to share on why they started the brand, and it's always so personal to them. And the great part is that there's more women, more female entrepreneurs in fashion, that they say, you know, I'm just going to do it, you know. So I have the power, I have the ability to do it, I'm just going to try and do it. And so and they're warriors, you know, they push hard, they know it's hard, but then traveling, right? So that's one of the things that we have to do a lot, just carrying all your merchandise and going to a pop-up because somebody invited you to New York. It's like, yeah, I'll go to New York. I'll make it work. And even if you meet one person that loves your brand, then that's enough, right? That's a good you know, that's a good result of your trip to New York, because you made that connection, and you never know where that connection is going to take you.
Correct. Yes, I love that. So any final words or pearls of wisdom that you want to share to inspire another female founder on the journey who probably didn't, because, you know, sometimes you get that immediate feedback from the market, and it starts to sell and you have that success. And sometimes for other people, it takes a little bit more time. What is your advice for a female founder out there who's just starting out on her journey?
Find a mentor. And somebody that is in the same industry that you're thinking. So in terms of fashion, somebody that is in fashion, but maybe somebody that is just in another industry, in business, because just having somebody to hear your ideas and to challenge you and question you, it'll help you think in a different way. So that's been incredibly helpful for me. And I had a friend that it's you know, he was a completely different industry. And before I launched my brand, we were like going for coffee, and he would ask me questions like, well, that's not such a big investment. Why don't you try it and then see if it works or not? So just having that mentality of that. And then don't take rejection personally. There's always going to be somebody that does not agree with your proposition or your product, but that doesn't mean that it's not valid. It means that they have a different taste, they have a different opinion, and you'll find those anywhere in the world. So it's, don't get discouraged because somebody rejected you or say no, or so didn't like your idea. Go to the next person and you'll find somebody that, you know, believes in you and encourages you, and you can go to the next step from that. So yeah.
I like this advice because I think one of the things that I tend to encourage, not myself and other women that I also mentor, is that you have to become solid in your own idea. Like, you have to be sold on your idea first, because everyone has an opinion on how it can be done or how it should be done. And I think even if we have to remain open to advice and seeing it differently, we also have to be rooted in our own values and what we want to do. Because, for instance, in your case, where you're trying to put together function and style, and from the perspective of a woman for women, there's a lot of tradition and that you're breaking. And sometimes that can be hard for a lot of people to understand. And I'm sure you had to have your own inner strength that this idea is valid. I know where this is going. A certain amount of that had to be present to propel it forward.
Yes, for sure. And I've encountered that many times, and I still do, right? So from people that maybe have more experience in the industry than me, but in the times that I gave up and say, okay, I'll follow your advice, those are the times that I didn't follow my gut feeling, and those are the times that something wasn't as successful, that I strongly believe in something and I let somebody convince me and say, okay, maybe they know more than I do. Let's go with that. And it turned out that I was right. So that gut feeling will come, you'll learn how to
trust it,
to validate and trust that gut feeling as the time goes by, especially if you're doing something new, right? It doesn't come as natural, but trust you. And so first, like you're saying, believe in your product, believe in what you're doing, know your product really well, and from there make decisions, informed decisions, but also trust yourself that you know what you're doing. And then stand your ground when you feel that that's something that you have to do. And if you make the mistake with your own decision, that's okay, right? You learn from that. So there's no, you know, there's always a win-win in that case.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing this, Erika. It's been such an amazing journey speaking with you. We're going to be sharing the links, and I invite everyone listening or reading in the magazine to visit the website. Such beautiful designs. And of course, the Italian touch is always a great touch to everything. So we truly appreciate that. And having a woman create shoes for women is something that is so unbelievably rare. And so we're really happy that you have stepped out, took a chance on your vision, and now in the world making it happen.
Thank you so much, Hannah, for this opportunity. It's always wonderful to share the story, and hopefully, you know, somebody will be inspired to get started as well.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Erika.
Erika's journey is truly inspiring. It reminds us that our greatest business ideas often come from our own challenges. And so look around. What problems do you face? Maybe that's your next big breakthrough idea. It also shows that you can make that transition from employee to entrepreneur, and you just have to feel solid and confident in your idea and go for it. Erika emphasized the need to have mentors and coaches and guides who can support you on the journey and help keep you focused when the mind wants to take you astray on what's not working or what you probably got wrong in the process. I hope that you enjoyed this interview, and please subscribe and like this channel. And you can also visit www.culturedlife.org for more resources. As always, live the cultured life.